Did you guys see RAF 10? This, I'll just put this up front. This event, this organization, done by, Coach Izzy out in Chicago, greater Chicago area, who, if you guys are not wrestling fans, if you're not wrestlers, he's a youth coach, so he's not like a Cael Sanderson or a Dan Gable or John Smith or even, some of these other guys that have done really, really well at the college level. He's a youth coach. He's a club coach. He's a guy that you wouldn't think would have this big name, but he's a big deal, man. You ask any serious wrestler in the country if they know Coach Izzy. There's a whole thing, Izzy style. This is probably one of the more decorated youth coaches and club coaches in the country, ever. So they start this organization. I don't know who his partner is in RAF, I will say, but the late, great Hulk Hogan had this idea, from my understanding, to start a freestyle wrestling event, put his name behind it. That's why it's called Real American, because he was the real American, right? I am a real American. So they start this event, and everything, full disclosure, everything that has tried to make wrestling more household, more mainstream, has failed. We just had Final X this last weekend with some guys, and they're wrestling in a high school gym in front of next to nobody. Some of these guys. And these are the best guys in the world. Trent Hidley just wrestled Michael Machiavelli, who's a buddy of mine. Actually, Mike was the first person I ever even talked to, I believe, when I started dating my wife, and just saying, hey, what do you think? I like this girl. I'm dating her. Thinking about asking her to be my girlfriend. Yada, yada, yada. He's the first guy I ever talked to. Very good dude. Spiritual mentor of mine. But nobody's watching. They're wrestling to make the world team, and nobody's watching. Same day, RAF is going on, and there's tens of thousands of people there. There's UFC champions on the card. Multiple, I might add. Multiple UFC champions, multiple contenders. We've got guys that are, hunting for an Olympic medal, like guys that have been in the NCAA finals. Like, this is a big deal. And people are watching. It's not necessarily that it's the best wrestling, the best, but people have tuned in to this spectacle that is RAF. Now, my biggest fear with RAF, and I'm going to get to some of the shenanigans that happened at RAF 10 in a second, but my biggest fear with RAF is they're blowing through money. Is they're not bringing in what they're putting out. They're not able to keep the lights on. You see this with sporting events and with some of these organizations. PFL is going through this right now. It's kind of covered up and it's behind closed doors, but the Professional Fighters League is going through it right now. They have, I believe, changed the $1 million to $500,000, and they've kind of said, oh, it's because we're spreading it out, but the checks are not coming through as much as they were going out. And we've seen this multiple times in the wrestling community, and everybody that has grown up being a wrestler has like, man, if people could just get this sport on their TV, if we could get it to ESPN, if we could get it, to NCAA Network, if we can get it talked about, it'll be a big deal. And it's just never broken through until now. And I'm wondering, is it my own bias? Is it my own algorithm that's showing me, hey, this is what you need to be watching. This is what we think we're curating to your liking. And I don't think it is. I think guys are tuning in. I think it's a big deal. And I have to say it. It's because of the MMA guys. It's because of that star power from the UFC that they built up over time. And they're coming in and getting the job done on... sorry, I was getting a text. They're coming in and getting the job done on the promotion and the media side. And I've never seen anything like it. Arman Sarukian has wrestled at almost every single... RAF. He headlined 2 RAFs ago, and then he was the opening match. He jerked the curtain the last RAF, and then this one he wrestled Tony Ferguson in the co-main event. And just blown away by the sport. I love wrestling. I love freestyle. I love watching the Olympic Games, and I'm telling you, this thing has something different that other organizations have missed, and I think it's not putting the best wrestlers at the top of the heap. And I hate to say that, but it's putting the biggest names at the top of the heap, at the top of the bill. Khamzat Chimaev is not the best wrestler in the world. Dylan Dennis is not the best wrestler in the world, but they got the most eyeballs. More people tuned in to watch them. And then when you get these MMA guys that are a little hot-headed, you're seeing you're seeing these guys like a Colby Covington, like a Luke Rockhold. They're kind of clinging together, right? It's a more wholesome experience. There's kids watching. But then you got these crazy Dagestani guys. You got these crazy guys from Armenia. You've got these crazy dudes that don't care. Their culture's a little bit different. They train a different way. They think a different way about fighting. It's where most people think of fighting is at 100. For a professional fighter, it's like a 70 or an 80. It'd be like a normal person going and playing a game of basketball. The nerves that go into that is like what a professional fighter thinks about. And when you get these crazy guys like a Khamzat Chimaev or an Arman Sarukian who like to throw down, I mean, this is what they do for a living. I can just tell you from my own experience, training MMA makes you more callous to fighting. Not in the fact that you go out and do it, but you've got a lot less grace, I should say, when it comes to what guys are, allowed to say to you or do to you. And Dylan did something or said something that pissed off Chimaev. And I'll just say, man, that's not the guy you want to piss off. But, and then this huge brawl goes out. But again, it's almost become like a thing. Like, hey, we don't condone it. I had a college coach. I'll tell you this quick story. I had a college coach. I'm not going to tell you what college or where, but some of my former teammates will know exactly who I'm talking about. And we had some issues with the football team. Football players, jabbing. And our coach brings us in and he's like, listen, you don't effing fight for any effing reason. All right? I don't want you fighting, yada, yada, yada. I don't condone it. But if somebody comes to your door and knocks on your door, you beat their, yada, yada, yada. But he's like, but I don't condone it. I don't condone violence. And it's just this funny thing where it's like, if this happens, you do this, this, and this. Almost saying like, listen, don't go out of your way, but if it happens, you better effing do something. But I don't condone it. He's like, I'll fight for you. I'll make sure that you're defended as best as I can, but I don't condone it. And it was this weird, like, tongue-in-cheek, like, he definitely just told us to go fight some people. Like, there's no way around it. He told us, like, I'm not telling you what you can and can't do, but you make sure you go do it. And it's almost like this RAF is because if they really were against it 100%, obviously, you don't want anybody to get hurt, right? But if they were against it, they wouldn't throw it in the promotion. It's like when Conor threw the dolly at Khabib. Yeah, obviously Michael Chiesa got his eye and this and that, but nobody died, right? Nobody got seriously injured to the point where their livelihood and their life was affected long term. They throw it in the promotion. They put it in the next promo video promoting the fight, and then Khabib and Conor's the biggest fight of all time. So I feel like there's a tongue-in-cheek thing going on that's like, hey, you don't fight, but if this happens, you fight. And I don't condone it, but if this happens, you get this done. And it's an interesting thing because the sport is getting built around us, and all us wrestlers have been clinging for this because we know we have a product. We just haven't had the promotion for it. And it takes a youth wrestling coach and Hulk Hogan to get us over the top.